Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel! If you're new here, my name is Madita, and since I am extremely lazy and I don't really want to film a video where I review every single book that I read in 2023, I thought I could film a little book tag video where I just give you like a summary of all the best, worst, and obviously most disturbing books of 2023. I actually got this video idea from a video that Destiny did a couple weeks ago, I think still in 2023, so definitely check that video out because I would have not come up with this without. So let's just get started. Like, you guys will see what happens in this video by watching this video. Starting off strong, we have a negative question because why not? I was positive in my last video, I can be negative again, and that is, what was the most disappointing read of 2023? And I have two books in mind for this, and those are Check and Mate and Sable Peak. I was so excited about Check and Mate. No one understands because I love chess with my entire heart. I play chess with my siblings a lot, and the only book that I've ever read revolving around chess is Die Schachnovelle, and that book doesn't have any romance in it. But when I realized that Check and Mate does, I was like, oh my god, what more can I want in life? Sadly, I should want more in life because that book was extremely disappointing. Not only was it super cringy to realize that the male love interest was a part-time TikTok influencer, but it got even worse when they started mentioning Timothée Chalamet, Cole Sprouse, and Riverdale. I don't want to know about Riverdale! I just cannot handle Gen Z references in books, okay? I don't want to have anything related to real life in books. It just always feels so off. It doesn't feel real. It feels weird. And on top of that, I heard a theory online that this is actually like a fanfic about two famous chess players, and that just makes everything more weird. Now, obviously this is like a theory, so I don't know if that's actually true, but I am not a big fan of fanfiction about real people. It just makes me extremely uncomfortable to realize that this might be about real people. Now, obviously this is like a theory, so don't take my word for it, but if it is, it's weird. I don't like that. And then the second most disappointing read of this year was Sable Peak, which is the last book in the Eden series by Daphne Perry. And it's about Mateo, who's like the youngest brother and youngest sibling in the Eden family. I read the entire series last year and I really loved Indigo Ridge. I thought it was amazing. And I got introduced to Mateo in that book. And I realized that he was like the wild child, the character who was a bit different, the sibling who had different dreams in his life. And I just wanted to know what he would do in the future. But then I had to read like all the other books in between and they were all like not my cup of tea. I had to struggle through all the books about his siblings to get just little glimpses and like crumbs about Mateo. And then his book was disappointing as well, so it was all for nothing. How can I explain to all of you that this book felt more like a hiking guide than a romance story? Because I get that Mateo is only the love interest in this book, but still his background story is so important for the entire plotline of this book that I don't understand why it's only mentioned like 2 or 3 times throughout this entire story. We needed way more. And don't get me started on how so many of the scenes felt so repetitive and how none of the emotions that Mateo ever had were explained. He fell in love within 2 seconds. It was 0 to 100 and it made no sense at all. Why did we have so little about the romance in the story and so much about the hiking? And I like hiking. I love hiking, but this was even too much hiking for me. The next question I have for all of you here today is, what was an underdog book of the year? And that was definitely The Italian Job. I had never heard anyone talking about that book before, and I only found out about it because I was like surfing on a secondhand website online because I wanted to buy some new books. And I saw that book and then I bought it. And it was the best decision of my entire life. I went into this book expecting it to be the most cliche fake dating novel ever and to have those scenes that are like, it was never fake, not for me. Are we still pretending or is this real now? I was expecting those scenes, and I was so wrong. Like, yes, this is still a fake dating book, but it is in Italy. It is at Lake Como. It plays in a villa. It has cute romantic scenes. It's in Italy. Like, I'm not usually the biggest fan of fake dating, but this book made me realize maybe I do really like fake dating. And that's very surprising. Now, the next question is, what was a book that I read in 2023 that I thought was overhyped? Now, I don't really like saying that a book is overhyped because that just means that a lot of people liked the book and you didn't. But everyone has different book tastes, so that's like super normal. But I feel like this just like classifies really well my opinions on the next book because of how it was represented to me, and that is The Kiss of Deception. Now, if you don't know, The Kiss of Deception is actually the prequel trilogy to the Dance of Thieves duet, and I've always wanted to read that book because it's so popular on BookTag. But since I know that there was a prequel series, I obviously had to read it. Duh. And honestly, why do I ever make decisions in my life? Because I should have never done that. That entire series gave me absolutely nothing. The first book didn't even mention magic until the 70% mark, and I do not understand how that's possible. We are in a fantasy world. Where's the pixie dust? Where are the fairies? Where are the dragons? Where's the magic? Where are the superpowers? Where is anything? On top of that, the fact that this book was written with 3 POVs ruined the book. There were no le gasp moments or betrayal moments or shocking moments because we knew everything before the main character knew it. I cannot comprehend why they decided to write it in 3 POVs because this book had so much potential. It could have been so good if it just had any amount of secrets. I actually need to breathe because I get so frustrated when there's a book with a good idea and a good premise, but it gets ruined because of stuff like that. I'm going to be so honest, I don't even know if I want to read Dance of Thieves now anymore just because that series has frustrated me so much. The next question is, who was my favorite book couple of 2023? And that is obviously without a doubt Jax and Evangeline. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what to say about that series anymore because I've talked about it at least 20 times in the last 2 videos. So I feel like you already know everything that I have to say about this, but I can just tell you this. If you want to know what the definition of tension and chemistry and amazing love is, it's Evangeline and Jax. And I know I haven't read book 3, but nothing can stop me from shipping these 2 characters for the rest of my life. Literally just look at the fan art and you will know what I'm talking about because even the fan art has chemistry and I don't even know how that's possible. The next question is, who was my favorite main character of this year? And I have 2 main characters I really love this year. And one is Sadie from the book Sadie and one is Alice from the book Malice. That rhymed. I feel kind of cool now. Sadie's such a strong and fearless main character that will do anything for the people she loves, and that's already amazing. But she gets even better just because she is the older sister. And then while you're following Sadie along on her journey to track down her sister's killer, you can see how all these character traits become even stronger and how she just develops so much as a character. You will be rooting for her. I honestly don't think it's possible to not like Sadie. You will root for her. Trust me on that. And then Alice is just an icon. So if you don't know, Malice is a Sleeping Beauty retelling and Alice is supposed to be Maleficent. So you can kind of see where this is going, right? Basically, Alice is supposed to be the villain of this entire story and I just love books like that. I need more main characters who are considered the villain of their own story. And that just makes Alice such a complex character because on one hand, she doesn't want to be evil and she wants to be loved by people. But on the other hand, she does things that are considered evil. And it just all comes together in this beautiful duet and it's just amazing. Like there are just so many ups and downs, you are not ready for it. The amount of female rage in this book is not containable. Ooh, I really like the next question. What book surprised you the most in 2023? I think that's going to have to be The Lucky List. I was expecting a lighthearted YA story about finding yourself, coming of age, and maybe even a little bit of parent bonding. Instead, I got a gut-wrenching book that destroyed my happiness for the rest of my life. Don't I just love being tricked by cartoon covers? And you know, maybe I should have predicted this. Maybe I should have known that this book was sad, but I like to consider myself an optimist, and I like to think that authors don't want to cause me pain. But clearly I am wrong. So why, may you ask, is this the most surprising book of this year? Obviously because I cried so much that my pages are now wavy. The next question actually relates to this topic, and that's what book made you cry the most? And this answer will shockingly be The Cruel Prince by A. Jade. Now, I absolutely hated that book. I would never recommend this book to anybody, not even my worst enemy. Was it still the saddest book that I ever read in my entire life? Yes. Basically what happened is that I didn't read the trigger warnings. And why, you may ask? Well, because usually they are in the front of the book. So like when you flip through the pages, you find them right away and you know what you're getting yourself into. Now, this book didn't have that. They were actually in the back. So I didn't find out about the trigger warnings until I read those scenes. How lovely! And now you might be wondering, well, Madita, what was that triggering subject? And it was basically someone not wanting to be on this earth anymore. That's me forming it in a way so this video doesn't get taken down. As a result, I was obviously very triggered and just bawled throughout the entire story, and I had to like skim read the rest of the book because I just wasn't prepared for this. And usually I know about those scenes because I read the trigger warnings and then I can at least mentally prepare myself for it, but because they were not in the front, I didn't know about this. And it's technically my own fault, but still, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone because the representation of those mental illnesses in this book isn't good. I do not like it when authors use very dark scenes like this to make a bully romance out of it. Why is the main character dating the bully of her best friend? I don't understand how that was a thing in this book. And now I don't want to talk about this anymore, so let's go to the next question. Who is a new favorite author that I discovered in 2023? Okay, obviously Sabaa Tahir. She's the author of the An Ember in the Ashes series, which is my top fantasy series of 2023. She's just so creative and has such a fantastical writing style that you just get sucked into the world right away and never want to leave, even if the books are disturbing. And so even though I love her, I'm gonna have to give you all a warning. No one is safe. Not your favorite character, not your least favorite character, and definitely not your best friend. No one is safe. You will be stabbed in the back and betrayed on every single page. So get ready. Everything and anything is possible. So yeah, I'll definitely be reading more books by her because I just love being betrayed all the time. Ooh, I love the next question. What was the happiest book you read last year? Shockingly, it was The Italian Job. I already mentioned the book in this video before, so I don't really know what else to say except, again, Lake Como, Lake Como, Lake Como. I actually am trying to think of some other happy books that I read this year, but I mostly read a lot of sad books this year, which is very disturbing, and maybe I should change that for next year, but I cannot take it back now. Oh my god, the next question is going to take so long to answer. What was the cringiest book you read in 2023? Things We Never Got Over and that Playing for Keeps series by Becca Mack. Sit down, people, this is going to take a while. First, let's talk about Things We Never Got Over. I could go on and on about how Knox and Naomi are some of the cringiest characters I've ever met in my entire life, but then this video would never end. They act like 10-year-olds, and they are in their 40s. I cannot comprehend how you do that. And I don't understand, are we supposed to find that funny? Because all I see in my head is a man-child who will pout whenever he doesn't get what he wants. And at that idea, I want to throw up. And it's just not cute, not funny, and definitely not hot. And I mean, nothing about Knox is hot, but he's definitely not hot when he pees beside his dog in his backyard. Do you know how much that will smell? Ugh! And also, how does Naomi find that hot? I mean, I know she makes the worst knock-knock jokes to ever exist on this entire planet, but still. How do you see a man peeing in his backyard and decide, yeah, that right there, future husband? And some of you might think now, well, Madita, that's only one scene. That isn't the entire book. And that's so wrong because that scene just describes what type of man Knox is, and it just foreshadows his entire personality and how it's going to be for her to live with him in the future. All I can imagine in my head now is that when they have a child, that the child will be playing on the same grass where her husband pees. And you know what? I don't care that it's only one scene. I do not and will not get over it. And then there's the Playing for Keeps series. I didn't expect to hate some characters more than Knox, but that series proved me wrong. I don't know why men can only be funny when they act like kids in books. You are grown hockey players. You know what a fruit roll-up is. Throughout the entire series, Carter, the main character of the first book, got more and more immature and more annoying. The audio that goes like, he'll be rewarded for never maturing, for never understanding or learning, is literally the definition of Carter. You can be funny without being immature and acting like a 10-year-old. Look at Kenji. I am actually developing anger issues again just by thinking about the series, but I want to give you a scene as an example to what I'm actually talking about, so I'm going to be reading it to you now. Sit down and enjoy. So this is a scene in book 3 where the entire friend group is having like a garden party and all the girlfriends are hanging out together and all the men are somewhere else. And then suddenly, they hear a shriek. Ah! Can you guess who it is? Yeah. It's Cardi. And he's yelling for his girlfriend and he says, "Babe, come over! It's an emergency!" And then this happens. We race inside, sagging with relief when we see the boys standing in the kitchen, piles of fruit roll-up wrappers in front of them, half-eaten snacks clenched in their hands. Carter holds his rainbow snack up, eyes alight with excitement. It does tongue tattoos! Jenny! Carter shouts excitedly, running over to her. He sticks his tongue out. Look at mine! Carter rushes to Olivia, the whole fruit roll-up hanging off his tongue. Look! Are you ready? Watch! He pulls it off, proudly displaying the blue Yoda he left behind. It's Rhoda! Deep breaths, Madita. Calm. You are calm. I didn't make that baby voice just as a joke. Look is written with a W. Yeah. That's what we're going for. And you know what I hate even more about the scene? Is that if you read that scene and forget what this book is actually about, pretend you don't know how old these guys are, pretend you don't know who is, and then read that scene again. It seems like a scene where sons are running to their mothers and proudly showing them what fruit roll-ups do because it's like their first fruit roll-up ever. It is not written like a scene where boyfriends are running to their girlfriends. They called them boys and they said wook. That's a child. Let's go on to the next question because I'm currently rethinking my life. The next question is, what was the most disturbing book of 2023? And drumroll, please. Haunting Adeline! Wow, how surprising and shocking! Who would have thought that? And honestly, all I really have to say is that Zaid's bad behavior doesn't get cancelled out by him sometimes doing good things. That's not how the world works. You're still a bad person. Especially if you do to your girlfriend the things that you save other women from. I cannot comprehend how contradicting that is. So not only were his actions very disturbing, but then the entire book became disturbing, especially the second book and the first half of the second book. It was so dark, I had to put it down multiple times, and I hope I can someday forget that I had to read these books. The next question is, what is a book that had a plotline that I didn't expect at all? Yeah, that's definitely going to have to be Not So Perfect Strangers. When I picked up that book, I thought it was going to be like Gone Girl. I could have not been more off about the plotline. Not only was the plot twist in the third book so shocking that my jaw was on the floor, but just in general, the entire book was so scary and intimidating and unpredictable and plot twisty, and I especially love it in thrillers because then the book is a lot more scary than it would be otherwise. I don't want happiness and calmness. I want to feel like I'm in a horror movie. Oh, the next question is so good, but I don't know if I can answer it. What are my favorite covers of 2023? Let me get them really quickly. Really quickly, I have crutches. Yeah! I honestly wish I could show you every single cover that I love, but I'm just going to pick 3. So number 1 is going to have to be Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, but the Cranford Collection edition. And I saw this book at the thrift store, and I've wanted this edition for so long. I also got the Pride and Prejudice edition and the Little Woman edition. They are so gorgeous, and they're so hard to get. Oh my god. The bees, the flowers, the everything. Like, come on now, how can you not say this is the prettiest book to ever exist on this entire planet? And then the second one I have here is We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and it's like a newer cover edition, and it's like this beautiful, more sketch cover that I absolutely love. I love how we can see the lines of the pencil in the face of the characters. It looks very scary. It looks like the cover of a horror book. It just fits the vibe of the book perfectly. I could look at this all day, which is like weird because it's like a creepy cover, but still, why would you not like to look at beauty like this on a daily basis? And then the third one is a very surprising cover because it's like very simple, but I bought this book because of the cover. Did I end up liking the book? No, but still. And that is Love by Mayan Aitan. And it's just a kiss on the cover with pink lipstick. Actually, am I now remembering a cover of a book that I really hate? Yeah. That book I then don't like. That cover I don't like. This one I do love. This one I love because it's like simple and only one kiss, not a million. Oh, I love the next question. What is a book that I haven't stopped thinking about? Obviously, Open Water. That book is my favorite book of 2023, and I honestly think it's worthy of being in my top 10 books of all time, which is amazing. I think about this book every single day. The book is so quotable and so beautifully written. That book is my Roman Empire, basically. Oh my god. The next question is, what is the most frustrating book that I read in 2023? Ignite by Melanie Harlow. The only reason I picked up that book is because it's a single dad romance story, and I love that trope so much, and I was so disappointed and frustrated. So this is an age gap romance story, which I didn't know going into that book, but she's 22 and I'm 22 myself, so I would like to consider myself capable of being able to choose who I want to date. But what I hate is when there is a big age gap in the book like this, and the main guy just won't shut up about how young she is, and how he's like, oh my god, it's forbidden, I shouldn't date her. Then don't do it, dude. Why are you here then? If you hate it so much and if you think so badly of yourself, leave. No one needs you, there's the door. Let me just read to you all some quotes of the things he said because I wanted to punch this man in the face. She even moved like a kid. Were you even in school when we graduated? Barely, she giggled again. I was in kindergarten. Don't tempt me, little girl. Ugh. Oh my god! Those quotes are already a lot, but now buckle in for the last one because this one is actually so disturbing. Basically, it's an entire scene where the main character tells her sister about who she's dating right now. You have a crush on Dad, Winnie. My spine snapped straight. I do not. Yes, you do. Ex-military, divorced single dad with daughters, swears too much? She leaned back in her chair and kicked her feet. It's totally Dad. And you're Franny, complete with a gigantic age gap. Just don't let his daughters find you guys making out in the closet like we caught them. I need a minute. You're comparing your sister's relationship with your father's relationship. Why? Let's go on to the next question. It's positive again, thankfully. What is the most unpopular book you loved in 2023? It's definitely going to have to be House of Marion, not only because it's just an unknown book, but also because like the average Goodreads rating isn't that high, but I loved it. The book gives me Selection vibes with darker elements and Lana Del Rey Born to Die vibes. Basically, this is a story about a girl who has powers that are considered dark and evil, so she's being hunted down by like evil people from the magical world until one day she gets catapulted into this world of magic, castles, fancy dresses, crowns, swords, and aristocrats. And there she goes to the school where the next generation learns how to control their powers and how to become more socially acceptable for the aristocrats. And because she obviously has the evil power of this world, she has to hide it and she pretends that she has different powers, and it's just so scary throughout the entire book because you never know if her secrets are being revealed or not. And so you're just like sitting there on your bed being like, oh my god, what if on the next page everything falls apart? The next question I have is what book did I read that had the most unique concept? And that's going to have to be either Big Swiss or Convenience Store Woman. So Convenience Store Woman is about a woman who works at a convenience store, how shockingly, and she finds comfort in organizing and like helping customers, and she thinks that this is her future and what she's good at. And then the book not only tackles her life at the convenience store and how she finds comfort there and how she feels like she belongs, but it also tackles the reaction of society of her only wanting to work at the convenience store. And it honestly was just so unique how the convenience store talked about attraction, acceptance, and also self-realization. And even though the book is very short, it still somehow manages to put all those topics in such great detail into the story that you still think about it even after finishing the book. And then Big Swiss is about Greta, who starts working for a therapist. Basically, she writes protocols based on the audio recordings that the therapist sends her from the therapy sessions, and she somehow manages to fall in love with one of his clients. She then proceeds to nickname that client Big Swiss and becomes more and more obsessed throughout the story. And then one day they actually meet in real life and boom, the story gets super interesting. Basically, Big Swiss and Greta start a scandalous affair and it like unravels throughout the story and it gets so weird and so disturbing. And not only is the concept of the story very unique because of Greta's job, but just because of how she talks and the secrets and confessions she has throughout this book. And in the end, Greta has a lot of character development, but still, I was so disturbed on so many pages. And then the last book related question is what were my favorite book quotes of this year? So sit down and relax and enjoy this evening. I have quotes from two different books here. Can you guess them? One is Open Water, how shockingly, and the other one is Five Survive. Now, the first quote you all already know from my favorite book video for 2023, and that's, the two of you, like headphone wires tangling, caught up into something, a happy accident, a messy miracle. And then the second quote is so amazing too. She tells you she loves you, and now you know that you don't have to be the sum of your traumas, that multiple truths exist, that you love her too. And then number 3, you realize there's a reason cliches exist, and you would happily have your breath taken away 3 seconds at a time, maybe more, by this woman. And now the last quote I have for all of you is from Five Survive, and it's actually the beginning of the book. It's just the first paragraph, so there's no spoiler for it. It's just, the first few lines of the story. Here and not, red and black, one moment there, another gone. Her face in the glass, disappearing in the light of oncoming headlights, reappearing in the dark of outside. Gone again. The window kept her face for its own. Good, it could keep it. Back, the window didn't want it either. Tell me a more amazing opening line than this. And then the last, I guess, 2 questions I have can kind of be one, and that is just basically my reading goal reflections of 2023 and my reading goals for 2024. This year, I focus a lot on reading books that I've owned for a while, either because I got them sent to me or because I bought them in 2020 or 2021. And I still want to continue doing that because I want to be able to read every single book I own, but I also just am excited for new releases. I want to be able to read books that are coming out and read them on release day. I don't think I read any new releases last year, except I think for 5 Survive, honestly. I also realized that I did not read as many books in German and in French as I wanted to. I think I read 1 French book and 5 German books. And I definitely will make that again a reading goal this year because I don't know, I like reading books in different languages as well, or like at least in the original language that it's written in. But I think the reason I'm the most disappointed in myself for 2023 is because I read a lot of really bad books. I don't want to force myself to finish books anymore that I hate. I don't know why I did that last year, and I definitely want to prioritize in 2024 to only read books where I'm like, this will be a 5-star. And on top of that, I need to tackle my biggest enemy, which is my fear of giant, thick books. I want to read Anna Karenina so badly, but it's so intimidating. Have you seen War and Peace? That book can be considered a weapon. That's how thick it is. And also the last thing that I'm not happy about that I did in 2023 is that I didn't read any books my friends were reading. I never buddy read. I definitely want to buddy read with either Vanessa, obviously, or like Michaela and Clara, just because why have I not done this? It's a difficult situation, everyone. Anyways, this is the end of my book tag summary video for all the books I read in 2023. That's a very long title. I hope this video gave you at least a little bit of an insight into what I read last year and my opinion on certain books, and maybe even some books that you wanted to read and still want to read next year. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, you can hit a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content and other videos, you can subscribe. Definitely tell me your answers to these certain questions in the comments because I would love to know. I hope you all have a great day, evening, nighttime, morning, whatever time zone in. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Go read a book! And I think you should either read Open Water, House of Marion, An Ember in the Ashes, or any other good book that I mentioned in this video. So again, thank you so much for watching today's video. Have a great day, happy reading, and see you next time.